Rachel Shaw and Sheila Eddy are both present in court today, facing charges for the murder of their friend when they were just 16 years old.
Their scheme was to hide knives on their bodies and to attack Skylar at an agreed-upon moment.
In Star City, West Virginia, Shaw and Eddy were friends with 16-year-old Skylar Nee. Allegedly, Shaw and Eddy developed a dislike towards Nee and conspired to kill her.
Sheila Eddy and Rachel Schoaf carried out that plan. Together, they stabbed and killed Skylar.
Following Shaw's confession, both teenagers were apprehended. Shaw, in cooperation with the authorities, agreed to plead guilty to second-degree murder in exchange for her assistance in the case.
I'm so sorry. I don't know if there's a proper way to make this apology because there are not even words to describe the guilt and remorse that I feel each day for what I've done. I hurt the Neese family and those who love Skylar. I hurt my parents and shamed my family. May God bring eternal peace to Skylar and the entire Neese family.
After reaching a plea deal, the judge proceeds to deliver Shaw's sentence.
Rachel Schoaf, it is the sentence of the court that you be imprisoned in the West Virginia State Penitentiary for a period of 30 years.
However, Shaw will be eligible for parole in 10 years. Now, it is Eddy's turn in court.
It is the sentence of the court that you be imprisoned in the West Virginia State Penitentiary for the rest of your natural life. That sentence is technically with mercy, which makes you eligible for parole after you have served 15 years.
Mackenzie Sherilla, a 17-year-old, was convicted of murder after causing a fatal car crash that claimed the lives of her boyfriend and his friend.
Mackenzie decided death was the ultimate goal that day. This was not reckless driving. This was murder.
Mackenzie Sherilla's boyfriend, Dominic Russo, and his friend Davin Flanagan lost their lives when she crashed into a commercial building near Cleveland at a speed of 100 mph. Both men were declared deceased at the accident site, while Sherilla survived. Prosecutors presented evidence suggesting a toxic relationship and violent threats made by Sherilla against her boyfriend.
Threatened his property? She threatened to break into his house?
Correct.
According to reports, it was alleged that she deliberately crashed her car with the intention of killing her boyfriend, considering his friend as collateral damage. The prosecutor argued that the video evidence clearly indicated a singular goal and intent.
You see her driving very calmly and making the right turn, and then all evidence indicates she immediately put the pedal to the metal and drove straight into a building at 100 miles per hour. I think those really demonstrated to us that this was no accident.
Allegedly, a few days prior to the crash, she supposedly took the same route to premeditate the crime. As a result, the judge has now reached a verdict of guilt.
Count 1. Finds the defendant, Mackenzie Sherilla, guilty of murder, to wit Dominic Russo.
Sherilla is now given an opportunity to address the court before her sentencing.
Count 2. Finds the defendant, Mackenzie Sherilla, guilty of murder, to wit Davion Flanagan.
The families of Dom and Davion, I'm so deeply sorry. I hope one day you can see I would never let this happen or do it on purpose. I wish I could remember what happened. I'm just so sorry. I'm heartbroken.
There was no medical condition that caused this as an accident. There was no mechanical failure of the car. A failed suicide attempt is not a defense to murder. There's a very good likelihood, Mackenzie, that you will spend the rest of your life in prison. She's sentenced on count 1, 15 years to life. Count 2, 15 years to life, to be served concurrent to each other.
The judge has recently handed down a sentence of 15 years to life in prison for her. Aiden Fuji, at the age of 14, pleaded guilty in court for the murder of his classmate.
Having fun in a cop car.
Yep. Fuji was a classmate of a 13-year-old girl from Patriot Oaks Academy in St. Johns County, Florida. Tragically, he stabbed her 114 times, and her body was later found in the woods. Following his arrest, there is video evidence of Fuji taking Snapchats in the back of the police car. The video also captures Fuji and his parents in the interrogation room.
The Snapchat that you did is not very smart.
That's all over, you're all over the internet, Edward. This is serious.
It's very serious.
This is no joke. This is your whole life. Your whole life.
And ours.
And ours.
In a video presented by the prosecutors, Fuji and the girl were seen walking together shortly before her murder. Approximately 90 minutes later, the same video allegedly shows Fuji fleeing from the area where the body was discovered.
114 stab wounds, 49 defensive wounds, 35 wounds to the head and neck, 29 to the back and shoulder, and 6 fatal wounds.
After Fui pleaded guilty to first-degree murder, the judge has now issued the sentence.
Having entered a plea of guilty to the crime of first-degree murder, I sentence you to life in prison. Because of your age, you are eligible for review of the sentence in 25 years.
After Fooey received his sentence, he stood motionless, showing little movement. Willard Miller and Jeremy Goodale, both 16 years old, are facing charges for the murder of their high school Spanish teacher. The incident reportedly stemmed from a dispute over a bad grade.
We then moved her off of the trail, where I then struck her, and she died as a result.
Miller and Goodale attended Fairfield High School in southeastern Iowa, where Noima Graber served as their Spanish teacher. Miller, who received a poor grade from Graber, allegedly conspired with his friend Goodale to carry out her murder.
We discussed a general plan. I'll stand up here and look out, wait for Ms. Graber to show up.
During her regular walk at Shadowwalka City Park, Graber was unknowingly stalked by the boys, who lay in wait to ambush her.
Here she comes, and she walked by and hit her in the back of the head, and then I said, "We should make sure she's dead," so we hit her a couple more times.
They proceeded to drag her into the woods and fatally beat her with a baseball bat.
What was the plan after that? There wasn't a plan beyond that. Like hide the body, bury the body, save the body. At that time, we were going to hide the body. I guess in our arrogance, we kind of assumed that nobody would ever find her.
Shortly after the incident, both boys were apprehended. According to court documents, a witness acquainted with Goodale provided law enforcement with Snapchat messages implicating Goodale and Miller in the murder. One of the messages allegedly stated, "Point of view, you're my Spanish teacher and this is the last thing you see," followed by another message suggesting the need to hide a body. Later, Jeremy Goodale pleaded guilty and testified against his best friend, Miller.
Understood that he had the intent to kill Mrs. Graber.
What is your plea to murder in the first degree, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Goodale now has an opportunity to address the court before his sentencing.
I've had time to think on what to say, and I'm sorry, truly sorry. Every day I wish I could go back and stop myself. I can't comprehend losing a loved one in such an awful way.
The judge now delivers the sentence for the case.
The defendants shall be sentenced to life with the possibility of parole after 25 years.
Now it is Miller's turn to offer an apology before he receives his sentence.
I'd like to take this opportunity to wholeheartedly accept responsibility for the role that I've played in the murder of Juvenile Graber. To the family, I'm sincerely sorry for the distress that I've caused you and the devastation. And I ask that I'm given a chance, and I don't want to be institutionalized. I don't want to be in so long that I forget about what matters, where I come from, and look forward to getting through this.
Finally, the judge delivers their concluding remarks.
The defendant, Willard Noble Chaden Miller, should be sentenced to life with the possibility of parole after 35 years.
Miller appears to be visibly unaffected or unfazed by the proceedings.